The moon hung low in the sky, a bleeding heart against the black canvas of night. It cast a crimson glow upon the deserted town of Hollow Creek, painting its stillness with an unsettling dread. There was no breeze, no sound of life, only the oppressive silence that seemed to amplify the eerie light emanating from above. Even the shadows seemed to cower from the unnatural crimson light, shrinking back against the buildings and twisting into grotesque shapes. The townsfolk had long whispered tales of the blood moon, a harbinger of misfortune and terror. They spoke of a curse that fell upon Hollow Creek during these crimson nights, a malevolent force that awakened beneath the blood-soaked light. But Mark, a man of logic and reason, scoffed at these ancient superstitions. He saw only a celestial phenomenon, a trick of the light, nothing more. Tonight he would prove it. Mark stood at the edge of town, his breath misting in the cool night air. He adjusted the strap of his backpack, laden with cameras and recording equipment, his tools to debunk the myth. The stories held no power over him. He would capture the truth, expose the blood moon for what it was, a harmless spectacle. He had heard the whispers, the chilling tales of the cursed tree at the edge of the old graveyard. They said it was a conduit to something evil, something that stirred when the blood moon stained the earth crimson. He scoffed at the thought, his skepticism a shield against the creeping unease he felt. This was his chance to prove the absurdity of it all, to silence the whispers and expose the truth. Tonight he would conquer the fear that gripped Hollow Creek. Tonight he would face the cursed tree. The path to the graveyard was overgrown and dark, shrouded in the unnerving crimson light. With each step the silence pressed in, heavier, more suffocating. The air grew thick with the metallic scent of blood, faint but unmistakable, sending a shiver down Mark's spine. He pushed on, his skepticism wavering under the weight of the oppressive atmosphere. He arrived at the rusted iron gates of the graveyard, their twisted forms resembling skeletal hands reaching out from the earth. They creaked open with a groan, the sound like a mournful wail echoing through the stillness. The headstones within stood like crooked teeth, casting long, distorted shadows in the blood-red light. The air grew colder, the silence deeper as he approached the center of the graveyard. There, silhouetted against the crimson moon, stood the cursed tree. Section 4. The Weeping Tree. It was a gnarled oak, its branches twisted and contorted into grotesque shapes, as if frozen in a silent scream. The leaves, what few remained, were the color of dried blood, hanging limp and lifeless from the branches. The trunk was a canvas of dark, pulsating veins, throbbing faintly under the crimson light. And as he watched, horrified, he saw a thick, viscous liquid ooze from the bark, staining the ground beneath. Mark stared, his skepticism crumbling like dust. This was not a trick of the light, not a figment of superstitious imagination. This was real. This was wrong. He fumbled for his camera, his hands trembling, desperate to capture the horrifying truth. But as he raised the lens, the ground beneath him gave way. Section 5. Descent into Nightmare. With a gasp, Mark plunged into the darkness, the earth swallowing him whole. He landed hard, the air knocked from his lungs, the camera clattering away into the abyss. He was surrounded by an impenetrable blackness, the silence absolute, save for the frantic thumping of his own heart. Panic clawed at his throat, choking him, as he struggled to understand what had happened. Then a faint light flickered in the distance, growing steadily brighter. He scrambled towards it, desperate for any escape from the suffocating darkness. As he drew closer, the light revealed a vast underground chamber, its walls lined with ancient crumbling stone, and in the center a sight that turned his blood to ice. They were there, The townsfolk of Hollow Creek, their bodies twisted and contorted into unnatural positions. They were not skeletons, not decaying corpses, but something in between, their flesh pale and stretched taut over bones, their eyes glowing with a malevolent crimson light. And they were waiting for him.